Welcome back, battlers, to a brand new Ferocious Cup feature. We are taking a look at Alolan Sandslash. Guys, the Ice Boys are not getting enough love. I'm here to show you just how awesome they can be. Going into game one, I will lead my Alolan Sandslash into that Shelgon, and you know this is volleyball time. We are trying to spike that Shelgon with the Ice Punch. In comes that Nidoqueen, and we are ready for it. Sandslash does not fear the Nidoqueen. It does not fear the Shelgon either. We're going to fire off double Ice Punches here on the Nidoqueen. It just cannot generate energy fast enough to keep up with the Alolan Sandslash, and that's one of the best things about it. Its Powder Snow move actually charges so extremely fast that you're able to get to these moves. We actually farm down that Nidoqueen, and we have a ton of energy ready to go. In comes that Umbreon. I'm actually going to bring in my Alolan Ninetales here. So my opponent's team comp is not set up for success. He does have the Shelgon and the Umbreon, so the Charmers are going to really put in work, and besides, the Nidoqueen is going to be covered by my Alolan Sandslash as well. So he's going to fire off the Last Resort, and we're able to charm him down here, and then I have a charge move ready. I do fire off the Psyshock here to attempt to get that last shield, and we do exactly that. Shelgon's going to fire off these Dragon Breaths, but because Alolan Ninetales is part Fairy, it will slightly resist them. I do fire off my Psyshock here, and we wrap up game one. Jumping into game two, I do lead Bibarel into that Skunk Tank. Guys, this is a losing matchup for my boy Bib. I look for the swap there, but decided to stay in. We're actually going to reach a CMP tie, and he does get his Crunch off first, so I am very weak. I do fire off my Surf here, returning fire. I'm hoping to get to another Surf here, but we actually are not able to do it. The Skunk Tank is going to farm us down. Skunk Tank's got a ton of energy, but without Flamethrower, it's really going to fear the Alolan Sandslash as well. We're going to shield that Sludge Bomb. Probably could have gone without the shield. In comes Lanoon, and look at this, guys. We're going to fire off one Ice Punch here and then go straight for a second Ice Punch, and that Lanoon is already in the red. These Ice Punches add up so quickly. I know he has probably has access to Dig, so I'm going to shield, but it's just the Grass Knot. I do swap into my Alolan Ninetales to farm up that energy with a Charm. Out comes my opponent's Alolan Ninetales, and here I'm actually going to go for the Ice Beam. I know if my opponent does not shield, it will KO. My opponent does decide to shield though, so they are going to win this mirror matchup, albeit barely. So in comes my Alolan Sandslash. Another awesome thing about it is that it can take whatever attack Alolan Ninetales can dish out. That Ice Beam did no damage. We're actually able to farm down with Powder Snow, and we have an Ice Punch ready for Skunk Tank in the back. In game 3 of the video, I will lead my Heatmore into that Tyranitar. I do need to be careful of those smackdowns as fire type. Heatmore is not going to like that. I do swap into my Alolan Sandslash here, and I go for the Ice Punch. Here I actually made kind of an error. I thought that Rock was also weak to Ice, but it's just Ground that is. So these Ice Punches are going to do okay, but I had a better option with Ninetales in the back. So I make that mistake, but luckily we're able to pull out this game in the end. As you can tell though, the Ice Punch still does a great amount of damage. In comes B-Barrel. B-Barrel is going to take this Ice Punch from the Alolan Sandslash. Not very effective, but guys, look at this. We are almost able to get to a second Ice Punch there. If he would not have surfed, we would have been able to get to another one. So he does burn his energy there, and I don't have a great water type counter on this team, so this is going to be very sticky. I do bring in my Alolan Ninetales here. Because that Bibarel still has a shield, I'm not confident that I can get to the Thunder Punch with Heatmore to take it down. So we do shield the Surf, and we are able to charm down Bibarel. In comes my opponent's Alolan Ninetales, and I go straight for the Psyshock. I really want to burn the shield or level out our health so that I can win the mirror. So we do level out the health here, and the charms are going to add up really quick, and we actually win the mirror. So that's a neat trick you can do if you have energy with Alolan Ninetales. In comes that Tyranitar, and we're unable to get a charm off against it, but the Fire Spins will win it for us. Going to the next game, I will lead my Alolan Sandslash into that Vaporeon. Vaporeon is a water type, and it doesn't, it will resist these ice type attacks. It doesn't take super effective damage from them, obviously. We swap out into Minun, and then I face off against Lanoon. So Minun has pretty much disappeared from the meta in a lot of ways, but I still love using it. I also think on your team, it adds a lot of pressure. It really dissuades your opponents from bringing double water gunners against you, which can be really useful. So I do fire off the Thunderbolt here. We land it on Lanoon, which is great. I know that I cannot take a Grass Knot and survive, so I actually am going to double shield my Lanoon here. It was a Dig, so even better. We're able to farm down Lanoon, and we have a ton of energy ready. Out comes Vaporeon, and I make a swap into my Alolan Ninetales. He still does have that shield there, so The Hydro Pump is going to hurt really badly. Out comes Suicune, and I know I have to burn this shield and hit Suicune pretty hard in order to win, but it's still going to be very, very close. So we bring in that Minun and fire off the discharge here. Great thing about Minun too is that the Snarls are not going to do much damage to it at all. It's a very, very dense Pokemon. We do land that discharge, but he's going to get off a charge move as well. Suicune's going to fire off the Hydro Pump, bringing down our Minun. Out comes Alolan Sandslash, and luckily we're able to ice or Powder Snow it down with our ice attacks. Out comes Vaporeon, guys, and this is awesome. Look at this, double Ice Punch from Alolan Sandslash. Probably can only take maybe one Aqua Tail at this range, but we're actually able to Powder Snow it down for the win. Taking a look at this game, I will lead Alolan Sandslash into Nidoking. So Nidoking is a ground type, and it's not going to like that ice type attack. Out comes a B-Barrel, and I'm going to fire off the Grass Knot here against it with my Lanoon. So this won't KO. It actually does, Grass Knot does a ton more damage to Vaporeon because it's a pure water type, but it still does a great amount of work to Bibarel as well. So we actually reach a CMP tie, and I'm going to burn a shield here expecting a Hyper Fang, but it's just the Surf. Not very good counting on my part. Here we go for another Grass Knot, attempting to bring down B-Barrel, but it doesn't quite work. So we work up to another Grass Knot, but the shields are all gone. So Lanoon is going to take that attack and fall. Out comes my own Bibarel, and I'm going to go straight for the Hyper Fang, and we get there, guys. Might have been a CMP tie there, but we luck out, and we bring down the Bibarel. I really think that swings the match for us. If he would have taken down my Bibarel, I would have been in really, really bad shape. I go here for a Hyper Fang against the unshielded Alolan Ninetales, and it will bring it deep into the red, and we're actually able to win that matchup. So very, very good for us. Out comes that Nidoking. I'm not going to give it any opportunity to farm energy from Bibarel, so I do bring in my Sandslash, and we use one more Ice Punch to wrap it up. Alolan Sandslash can use Powder Snow or Metal Claw. It does have access to Bulldoze, Ice Punch, and Gyro Ball. I'm running Powder Snow, Ice Punch, Gyro Ball on mine, but I've seen a lot of trainers use Bulldoze. I'm not a super big fan of Bulldoze, but I understand the utility, especially against Skuntank and other Pokemon like Minun. So here comes Donphan versus Skuntank. That Skuntank does have some energy built up, so I need to be worried about the crunch. I do decide to shield, and out comes Kangaskhan. I really love playing against X Factor because he brings in some of the coolest off-meta and meta Ferocious type Pokemon. We do shield that power-up punch from him and then go straight for the Earthquake. I was a little overzealous here. Could have gone for a Heavy Slam because it would have been easier to go double Heavy Slam. And I don't know how tanky Kangaskhan is, but that Heavy Slam is going to land and bring it down. Donphan is very weak, but these counters are going to do great work against Skuntank. I actually really want to get off another Heavy Slam, so I will shield. And here we go. We get it. Donphan is an awesome Pokemon. I did a feature on it before. I still love using it, although it is weak to the water types. So Skuntank is very weak, but it has a ton of energy. We actually reach a CMP tie, and I luck out again with the discharge to bring it down. So very lucky for me. X Factor is going to wait down that switch timer, and his last Pokemon comes out. It will be that Umbreon, so still very close matchup for us. I do fire off the Thunderbolt here. Just trying to put as much damage on the Umbreon as possible, but he is overcharging tons of energy. We actually hesitate there and don't fire off our move. The Foul Play comes in, and it's actually a double Foul Play. So that was my mistake. I should have gone right for the discharge, knowing that he had more than 6 Snarls. It takes 7 Snarls to do a double Foul Play, so that's something you can keep in your back pocket. In comes Alolan Sandslash here, and the Foul Play, I believe, is the right move. He's going to go here for the Foul Play, which is correct, but we get to another Ice Punch, and we're going to wrap this game up. Going to this game, I will lead Heatmore into that Vaporeon. Obviously not a great matchup for me. I'm going to bail out immediately into Alolan Ninetales. Out comes Rhyperior. Rhyperior is a good Ninetales counter, but it's still so glassy for how big of a Pokemon it is. It's always funny to watch those charms just eat it up. So we do take it down, and he does preserve his shields, instead electing to bring down my Ninetales with Vaporeon. So here my goal is to get to 2 Thunder Punches just to burn these shields, but this is still a very uphill battle for us. Heatmore will KO if the Thunder Punch lands, so I'm going to shield it here, but it won't survive after that because I don't know why he used Last Resort there. He should have definitely used Aqua Tail because it's more energy efficient. But second Thunder Punch gets shielded. I'm going to escape this matchup with a shield. I do go into Alolan Ninetales, but this is still an uphill battle for us. We're going to fire off the Ice Punch here, and it's not enough. In comes that Last Resort Jolteon. Again, using really cool Pokemon. X Factor is really good at that. Ice Punch does a ton of damage though, and I'm going to shield this final attack. I know Vaporeon has some energy, but I think I can take either Aqua Tail or Last Resort, whichever one it is. I do fire off the Ice Punch here to bring down that Jolteon, and then in comes that Vaporeon. And it does have a ton of energy, so I'm not sure how close this gets, but it's actually Hydro Pump, so he is going to beat us. Very, very tricky having the shiny Vaporeon with Hydro Pump. GG's X Factor. Going to the next game, I will lead my Alolan Ninetales into Bibarel. We're going to try to work it down with these charms. I do decide to shield here, really wanting to win the lead, and I don't care if I burn a shield in the process. We're going to encounter some lag. Not a huge deal though. And we win the lead as well. So in comes the Alolan Ninetales. I'm going to go here for the Ice Beam. I don't want to switch lock myself, but I do anyway. I bring in that Alolan Sandslash, and here comes Umbreon. So I think my mistake there was not allowing Alolan Ninetales to fall. We're going to go for the Ice Punches here against Umbreon, and we're already able to get 2. So really, really fast energy generation. He's already in the yellow, but I know he's got a ton of energy built up. So I'm expecting a double foul play. I do shield the first one, hoping I can beat that switch timer and get out of this bad matchup. So in comes another foul play, and we are in the yellow as well. I go here for another Ice Punch, again trying to wait out the timer, and it's up, so we swap into our Alolan Ninetales, and we're almost able to charm down Umbreon, but he does defeat us with a Last Resort. So he did spend all of his energy there, and I'm comfortable bringing in my own Umbreon, and then going, I was trying to go for the foul play to bring it down, but he actually gets to his move first. So another Last Resort, and in comes that Alolan Ninetales. I'm going to fire off my own Last Resort, and then because the switch timer is still locked, I have to stay in this. I do go for another Last Resort, just trying to bring down this Ninetales. And we get it deep into the red, and then I swap into my Alolan Sandslash. I'm going to absorb this attack, no problem at all. It is a Psyshock, and we do survive. So charm animation was so slow, we were able to pull that one out. And look at this, guys. Ice Punch for the win. Taking a look at the last game of the video, I will lead Lanoon into that Nidoqueen, so obviously Grass Knot is something it needs to watch out for. In comes that Bibarel. I decided to stay in here. I go for the Grass Knot against it, just trying to put some pressure on it. It does land, doing super effective damage, so Matt is really trying to hold on to his shields here. I do absorb that Surf, no problem. I'm looking to Shadow Claw it down, but I realize we won't get there, so I do fire off one more Grass Knot. He does decide to shield, so we almost, again, fast move it down, but it barely edges us out. In comes my Alolan Sandslash. I don't want to get hit by the Surf, so I do shield, but it is Hyper Fang. So it worked out for us either way. Out comes Umbreon, and this is a very interesting situation. I'm not really sure what to do, so I continue to farm up some energy here. He does go for the foul play, and I, again, am going to continue to farm. Another attack from him, I do decide to shield. I bring in my Alolan Ninetales here, and I realize I switch lock myself into that Nidoqueen, so it's going to be very tough to come back and win this one. I do go for the Psyshock here to try to burn the shield, and we get it. So the shields are down in both situations, but this Nidoqueen is farming tons of energy. It's going to come down to a CMP tie yet again, and we do win it. So we got really lucky with CMP in this video pretty often. The super effective Ice Punch will bring down Nidoqueen, and I've got another Ice Punch for Umbreon in the back. So here, I think Gyro Ball is a little less energy efficient. I think Ice Punch is definitely the way to go. I'm going to fire off a second one, and then I think I can survive this attack, but it's going to be very, very close. We do survive the foul play, and now it's a race. I actually get to the Ice Punch here to win the match. If you liked this Sandslash gameplay, please leave a like, comment, and then subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. I will see you in the next one, and thank you so much for watching until the end.